Hey, welcome back to Two Stupid Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny. And for those of us that are long-term Alibaba holders, it was an interesting meeting this week. We've seen a lot of funny disturbance in the market in the US, but the Chinese have been rather resilient. We're going to talk a little bit about potentially why and some insight we got from one of the OGs of Chinese internet companies. All right.
Oh, geez. Mm.
Yeah, OG. Yeah, exactly. OG. That's a lot of money. So yeah, SPY down like 8%. We'll do a separate video about talking about this, but it's been a bit of a bloodbath over the last month in the U.S. markets. Even more so for the tech-heavy Nasdaq, down 11% in a month, which is crazy. That's a whole year's return. Granted, it's been up significantly over the last couple of years too. Well,
Yeah.
2023.
Once you zoom out
Um,
on that chart, it's not doing too bad. It's doing pretty good.
yeah, Yeah, absolutely. But in complete comparison here, Alibaba Group up 11% a month. Think about that. There's a 22% delta in terms of relative strength between the triple Qs and Baba right now, with the Chinese major like household name tech company, right?
And
Pretty
it's
cool.
not only that. It's the fact that we shot up to 140. And, we'd done videos previously where it's like, okay, this is not sustainable. We have to let these moving averages catch up. Honestly, it's bouncing between like 129, 144 pretty for a while. It's actually holding a lot stronger than I thought it would. I thought we would have went back to like 115 or something.
I'm right there with you. When we had that big run on based on
Huge
the
run.
Chinese stimulus rumors back in September, and then we kind of drifted back down. I thought this was going to be just a repeat of that, but no, we've had relative strength, and it's held up for a little while now, which has been pretty cool. So you remember recognize his face, Joe Tsai? Sound familiar? Chairman, Alibaba Group.
I mean, this is a loaded question. Am I supposed?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I've never heard of him.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you're also probably not a basketball fan, right? Because he's like co-owner of Brooklyn Nets, right?
Well,
He
they're terrible.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not a basketball guy, but he and Jack Ma were like the kind of one and two yin and yang of founding Alibaba
Yeah.
in many ways, and now that Jack Ma became persona non grata a little bit with his stepping out of line and kind of step out of limelight for a little while, Josiah has taken a more active role in Alibaba. Particularly right now, he's serving as the chairman. Well, he appeared on CNBC this week, and he had some pretty interesting things to say about Alibaba's business, China, and AI overall. So we'll go through this post, South China Morning Post article about it, which is also kind of funny because also owned by Alibaba, so it's like Alibaba reporting on Alibaba. So take that with like at least 3 grains of salt, I would think, unless you're hypertensive, but it's a different story.
Oh
Um,
boy,
yeah,
medical
little
dad jokes.
Right, exactly, exactly. So they're talking about the meeting that Xi Jinping recently held with like some major tech entrepreneurs in China. Right? So some of the comments here that I thought were most interesting. So mentioned that they had this recent meeting had taken place and that it was enhanced the confidence in Chinese companies, prompting Alibaba to make substantial investments in artificial intelligence. All right. So this meeting was fruitful enough that it emboldened Alibaba to make adjustments to their business and their capital allocation plan going forward. We've already talked about that when we talked about their quarterly earnings, but I'm going to kind of like revisit it a little bit in terms of what their plans are, and this is in part their foundation for why they're being so aggressive. Right?
Right, makes sense.
All right. So this is another thing that's kind of happened recently with like the disturbance here in the World Economic Forum, if you will. So you know how like Alibaba is dual listed in Hong Kong and New York.
Yes, which
Yeah,
makes the trading very weird because it trades like 20 hours a day or something.
yeah, but in particular, there's now a premium too. There used to be a slight premium for the Hong Kong listed shares, but it actually reached as high as 3.5%. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's weird. I didn't know that.
It is, yeah. I thought this was pretty interesting. So it's a little arbitrage opportunity if you wanted to try to make that 3.5%. You could be, selling your New York or you know, transitioning between the Hong Kong shares and then the New York shares, where the New York shares are technically cheaper right now. The Hong Kong shares are more expensive. So you would want to be accumulating, transitioning, and then selling on the more profitable exchange, the Hong Kong one. But I'm not sure the logistics of doing that. You'd have to have a broker that would allow it. Like Interactive Brokers, I believe, allows you to hold both Hong Kong listed and U.S. listed shares of Alibaba. But
I got a
it's
question.
yeah,
Do we know if this is abnormal or is it usually
yes,
like 3% behind?
no, no. This is right
Okay,
here
so this
compared
is
to a
abnormal.
historical average of
Oh,
0.19%.
there we go.
Yeah,
Wow,
so
to
there's
3.6?
Yeah, yeah. And right now, they said monthly average is 1.1. So even that is like 5 times the typical kind of split there. And it actually touched, so 3.6 divided by 1.9 with that 18 times. That's quite a substantial margin there in terms of increased over the baseline in that, different pricing structure, I guess you could say. You just spit it out, Vinny. Just go ahead and say
That's
it.
weird. That's
All right.
really weird.
Yeah, yeah. So it's something worth looking into. I'm curious if any of our viewers can comment if they're trying to do any of these Hong Kong, New York arbitrage opportunity. I'm kind of curious how it's playing out for you and how you're making it work. Um, but this is some of the comments, all right? This comment's wild to me. I wouldn't underestimate the importance of that event. All right, so he's telling you just how groundbreaking this was. This is something Josiah said on this during the CNBC interview. Okay, the message is very, very clear that the government is looking to private enterprise to come back and boost the economy. He's saying like we've been tapped. Okay, we've been knighted, we've been anointed as a saint, a knight of the Chinese Communist Party, and we'll be going forward in terms of making profits and driving AI research and development into the future. All right. So
That's
Xi's
huge.
business symposium in February, which included Alibaba founder Jack Ma and other executives of major Chinese tech companies such as Tencent, DeepSeek, first solidified Alibaba's confidence in AI investment, according to Joe Tsai. In a show of its commitment to AI, the company recently announced a plan to invest at least 380 billion yuan, $52 billion in cloud computing and AI infrastructure for the next 3 years. So this is kind of the number we talked about before, where they said that was going to be more in the next 3 years than they had spent in the last 10, and that if you added up the last 10, it was like 49 billion. So we knew it was around $50 billion US that they'd be spending on capex in the next 3 years. Right?
This
So
is
you know what's that?
proportionally close to Meta, Google, Microsoft. They're
Yeah.
spending more, but if when you look at market cap, and it's actually relatively close. It's in line, which is great because those are the biggest spenders in the world. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about this too. Like, obviously, they're playing a different game a little bit, right? But this is China's largest ever computing project financed by a single private business. Largest ever for a single business.
I mean,
Let that
I'm
sink
down to
in.
buy more shares if it goes back down to 115. That sounds good to
Oh,
me. I only got
okay. Okay.
390.
Yeah. No. And then, he kind of continued on. He's just telling you, like, we have the backing. Like, this is as low as it goes, is the message I got from Josiah here, right? He said Xi's meeting gave us confidence to put our earnings back into capital expenditures, investments, and also hire people. So he's not only saying that basically the CCP is saying we've got your back. We've got your back for the long run, right? Because like when you're hiring people, you're not investing for tomorrow or next quarter. You're investing for multiple years, and
And
that's the message that we're getting.
and also, in addition to that message, we're not going to tap you for billions of dollars as a good faith payment anymore,
Mhm.
right? Because
Yeah,
although that's like not now, but like 3 years ago, all these companies were getting hit real hard, kind of immediately after Jack Ma said
stepped out of
his
line.
thing. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say stepped out of line. They think it
Well,
stepped out of line, but yeah.
yes, from their perspective, absolutely. Um, and he further on went on to say that basically Alibaba was already in a great position to take advantage of this. Having really invested and spun up their cloud over the last couple of years, they become a more efficient business, and that they were already in a place where they could be the leader. And now they're really committing to taking themselves to that next level. Now that they've had this meeting with the CCP and seen that they are going to be, like I said, anointed or kind of tapped to lead the future in terms of not only their private enterprise, but on AI research for the country themselves. They're now looking at Alibaba as like a crown jewel, so to speak. So I think this is saying that he thinks the bottom is in, is the message I got here. In addition, when you kind of pair that with the fact that the share repurchases came back,
Yep.
they don't think an opportunity is going to come back where you're going to see those $80 share prices anymore for Alibaba is what I'm interpreting here. But that's just me being a stupid guy on the internet.
As a stupid guy on the internet, if it hit 115, would you buy more?
I mean, yeah, I'm feeling a lot more confident about Alibaba's business
Ooh,
now and
that's a
this
big
capex
thing
move.
for Vinny. All right.
Yeah, yeah. When a government has your back, it's kind of hard to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree if it hit 120. Where's your number?
Where's my number? I don't know, and I'd have to put
No,
more
no
effort into it.
formulas. Just shout out a number, and then we're gonna take that and use it against you in the future. You're not allowed to do
Yeah,
research on it.
yeah, that's the stupid guy way, you know. Hey, I tell you though, if we saw something under $100 again,
I don't think it's gonna
I might
happen.
be selling other assets to buy more.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm just collecting a bunch of dividends with TLT. I'm just waiting for an opportunity. So I would buy more if I hit that too. All right, guys,
Nice.
have a good one.
Get to the next one.